Hello and welcome to the channel. Chris here. As you can see, the surroundings are slightly different than they've been before. I moved production downstairs instead of upstairs that I had before. Mostly because all the equipment's down here and it's just going to be a lot easier to make videos from down here. So my apologies to the subscribers for the delay in producing new content in the last little while, but kind of got a nice setup here and I'm going to go forward with that. And a very big thank you to all the subscribers. You keep this channel going, so please continue to subscribe to the channel and click like on the videos and I'll keep churning them out for you. Today's video is going to be about this beautiful little guitar here. This is a Fender Telecaster, obviously. This is the Standard Telecaster made in Mexico. There's also the American series ones that are a little more pricey and obviously a little bit finer in their craftsmanship, let's say. But all things considered, I actually really like this instrument. I was never a Tele guy growing up. I was always into Strats and Les Pauls, but a good friend of mine has a Mexi Tele and I go to his house and I'd play it all the time and I really liked it and I thought, oh, it's something different to have in the arsenal, and obviously a Telecaster has its own unique sounds and properties, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be running the Telecaster into my Fender Twin Reverb reissue amp that's down here. It's going to be mic'd by an E906 Sennheiser and run into a Zoom portable recorder. I'm going to straight jack it into the amp with the bright switch up on the second channel, to hear it in context, just clean into the amp. I'll do it dry, I'll add reverb, I'll add tremolo so you can hear those features in it, and I'll go through the pickups, and then after that I'll run it through the effects board. I'll drop the bright switch down because it tends to get too bright otherwise with the effects board plugged in, and we'll hear it with some gain and some other effects on just for fun. This Telecaster, obviously the butterscotch blonde color, the black guard, pick guard here, it's the classic sort of original look that it had. I always liked this particular look, maple neck, and all the particular features that it has. And this is a 2017 model. I bought it at the end of last year. I bought it used off of a guy, but he bought it brand new and really didn't play it too much, so it's in amazingly mint condition. There's no tarnishing on this at all, so it was a pretty sweet buy. The Fender Telecaster has the illustrious place of being the first commercially successful solid body guitar, and it was created by Leo Fender, obviously, and the original iteration of it was known as the Fender Esquire, and it only had a bridge pickup, it didn't have a neck pickup. After that, it got modified and the neck pickup was added and it became a broadcaster. The Fender Broadcaster also finally put a truss rod in the neck, whereas the Esquire didn't have that, and that caused some intonation issues apparently on those older instruments. Gretsch didn't like the name Broadcaster because they had a line of drums called the Broadcaster, so Fender had to drop the name, and we're talking like 1950 for the Esquire and the Broadcaster. And it's kind of cool that it's that particular year because it sort of, you know, is the turning point as we move to the second half of that century, and, you know, the inauguration of the electric guitar into the world on a solid body scale. Obviously there were hollow bodies before that. After the issue with Gretsch and Fender having to drop the Broadcaster name, the Tele in 1951 was known as the No-Caster. They kept the caster suffix, which the Stratocaster obviously got later too, and there was just no name on this particular instrument. So if you have an original 51 No-Caster hold on to it because it's obviously highly valued and reissues are being made of those particular instruments as well. They're just sort of an iconic piece of gear from that particular time period. But it's really about 1952 that the Tele, as we know it today, really comes into its own and really hits the benchmark for what the solid body guitar would be. And this Tele is not that different from the original, but there are some differences. Now, obviously, one of the appeals of the Telecaster is its simplicity in design. It's really just a chunk of solid wood here. This is an alder body as the originals were, and the maple neck has been bolted on as Fender was famous for. This was totally in opposition to like Gibson's design with like fancy rosewood necks and these curvy, you know, specialized bodies and glued in necks, and Fender went the opposite way. They wanted a practical man's guitar, and you could change the neck out on this if you wanted to, and obviously they designed it that way so they could do repairs easier, and it was a smart design and it really worked and it took off with players. Country musicians in particular really gravitated towards the Tele because of its twangy, bitey sound, but people in other forms of music also found favor with this instrument, and you know, there's a ton of players out there who obviously like this. As far as differences go from the original on this particular instrument, this newer one, there's not a lot going on that's different. Things you would notice, obviously the saddles are different on this instrument. These are modern style saddles. The original Teles had the different kind of saddles that were put in, the vintage ones, and obviously you could get that and mod this if you wanted to. Personally, I actually like the feeling of these modern ones better on my fingers or on my palm for palm muting, but that's just me personally. Other people might like the opposite. The knob that's on the switch is different. This is the modern one. The old ones have that slightly different design on them, and I'm pretty sure the string trees are slightly different too, but you know, we're talking about minor differences. Fender Standard Telecaster, made in Mexico, this particular instrument. Awesome player, sounds really, really good. I like the sound of the stock pickups in it. I mean, as it stands right now, I don't see a need to mod. That might change in the future, you know, obviously we all like to tinker a bit and switch things up, just modify things as we, you know, come into different modes of appeal. But as it stands right now, I'm keeping this guitar totally stock and just, it is what it is. It's a fine instrument. I really think if you don't have a Tele in your arsenal, you might want to get one, even if you don't play country. I'm not a country player really, but I do like having this. I love the smoothness of the neck. It's got that nice satiny finish on this particular instrument. It's not sticky. Even though I like the glossy neck of my strap that's back here, this one I actually kind of like better on my fingers, you know, which works really well. Thanks again for watching. Please hit like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.